How's everybody doing? Thanks so much for all the patience. I think because I scheduled this with my phone, that it didn't allow me to go live on my computer, which was so weird. So I'm gonna go ahead and try and find the stream link to this and at least put it in the chat so y'all can see. But I was wanting to hopefully share my screen, but again, with how I scheduled this, it doesn't seem like I was able to. So no, in the future, just schedule everything on StreamYard. So that's what I'm going to do. So hope everybody is doing well today. A lot of people in the house. I mean, let me give a quick shout out to some people I see right now. Cheryl C., Aaron, Patricia, Nicholas Braxton, RJ, Grizz. Yeah, it looks like we're in the top three right now between Michigan and Tennessee, right? Right? I think those are the top three. Mark Twain, good to see ya. Regina, Reggie. It's good to see y'all. All right. Is this going to be on Instagram? Is that where it's at? Because I'm going to his Twitter and I'm having no luck finding this. But man, Boo Carter would be an extremely uh, big time commit for this program because I think, he's probably being recruited more as that secondary member, but he's a dynamic running back too. Like, I would not be surprised if they end up going um, running back with him just because of the types of plays he can make on offense. All right, Boo Carter 6. Let's see what we got going on. All right, and let me say hi to Miss Pleasantly Plump. Hey, 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 love that username. Um, Regina, yeah, absolutely. We're gonna celebrate with this big time. Carl W, Michigan, yeah, that's another big time favorite. But yeah, I mean, I've just had this feeling that I thought that Boo Carter was going to be here, and I know that Tennessee was probably the favorite. Oh my gosh, he's committing right now. I'm trying to log into my Instagram. Y'all might break this news before I do. Which is so funny. Normally with these commitments, they never happen on time. So that's awesome that Boo's getting to it right now. Let me see what we got going on. Oh my gosh. I'm not having luck today. Philip Moore, are you a Michigan fan? If so, welcome to our Buffs Land channel. You are welcome here, even if you're a Michigan fan. We're all just going to enjoy this together if I can get on here. All right, let's see here. Mac Mill says as soon as he's commit, Coach Mo's going to be like, line up the next day. I love that. All right, it says it's sending me a code here. His little brother Yogi is supposed to be even better, according to Gearhead. What position does Mark Twain says he's going to Tennessee. Phil Moore says go Buffs, just not today. Um, hey, a five and son says Michigan fan here, but also appreciate Colorado. Go Buffs, but we want Boo. Hey, I totally understand that, and I mean, whoever gets Boo Carter is going to be a, they're going to be happy, and they're getting a big time player. But overall, I know as fans we can be very excited. Heck, I'm here doing this live stream, trying to trying to celebrate this. But wherever he goes, this is a big day for him, and we're happy to celebrate. So it's looking like I wasn't even able to get up the stream on here. I was having trouble doing that, but so it's looking like he's going to Tennessee, along with Gage Ginther, offensive lineman from Colorado. And there was another safety that we were going after earlier this year, that ended up committing to Tennessee as well. He was from Tennessee. Man, now I'm getting conflicting information here. He committed to Michigan. He committed to Tennessee. Man, we got to figure this out. All right. Let me see what's going on here. At least I can search to Twitter to see what's going on. Wolverines. Let's see. All right. According to Hayes Fawcett, breaking news: four-star athlete Boo Carter has committed to Tennessee. The 6 foot, 190 athlete from Chattanooga chose the Vols over Michigan and Colorado. Go Vols, baby. Let's make history and win a natty. I'm coming to get y'all. Ryan Wingo, a big wide receiver that a lot of schools are after. I think Michigan hosted him recently. Am I right on that? Mike Matthews, Amari Jefferson, so many more. He's going to try to recruit. And man, hats off to Tennessee, man, because they're building something there really, really special. And I mean, college football, I think, is better when Tennessee is good. Just like Colorado. Hopefully we're kind of, Tennessee's kind of having their come up a little bit earlier than we are. Hopefully we can get to that level that Tennessee's at really soon. But man, it's hard to blame Boo Carter, staying in state, staying, at his big time school there in Tennessee, just like we had Jawan Jefferson, originally committed here, but then once LSU came knocking, flipped his commitment over to LSU. And I mean, it's hard to argue when you're offered that kind of position coming to the SEC. It can that can be a hard thing to turn down, even with Coach Prime. So hey, on to the next one. Rodney says Tennessee's putting together a squad. Nicholas Braxton says that Tennessee is doing great. Yeah, they're no joke, especially. Yeah, last year they had a fantastic year, and they probably would have been in that college football playoff if it wasn't for that injury to Hendon Hooker. And I would say that they probably, if any Tennessee fans are in here, if they're probably thinking Natty, coming up this next year. So that's incredibly exciting for them, man. But overall, let's go ahead and take a look at what CU has coming up. See if they have any visits coming up soon. Where they're looking at right now in the 2024 class. Again, we had a big time visit last week where we had 4 commits. Brandon Davis Swain, big defensive lineman coming in here from Bloomfield, Michigan. Zakaro Lewis, which, okay, I mean, I know that ratings change all the time and that camps go on, and that kind of helps impact, if their grade is going to go up and down. But what the heck is up with Zakaro Lewis being a 4-star, and then like the day after he commits to Colorado, he's dropped down to an 89, so goes to a 3-star. I don't really understand this whole rating process, but nonetheless, like, stars are great. It's awesome to see, but at the end of the day, it's not. It is not the end-all be-all for rating the true talent of a player. Let me go ahead and check in on some of the comments here. Nicholas says, even though Coach Prime didn't get him, he's off to a great start. Absolutely. I mean, big time commits we have here, which you'll love to see. My computer just froze, so hopefully that will start up again. But RJ says, good luck to the young man. Hard to turn down an opportunity to play for Prime, however. Absolutely. And it's a big deal that Colorado is in these types of fights without, even stepping on the field yet. It's a big deal. And as much as I love all the guys that Colorado has at least been in consideration for, at the end of the day, we can't have everybody. And, we're going to get guys with Coach Prime. I'm not worried about getting enough talent on this team. You know what I'm saying? So I would love Boo Carter. The race isn't over yet. maybe there's a chance that we can work a flip come December. Um, but overall, we're going to find the right guys to be here. And, hats off to Tennessee. I mean, they won a really big recruit here today. Yeah, Regina Earl says until he signs, he can always change it. Best wishes to the young man. Absolutely. I don't think that this is going to be one in which, we're just done. But we'll have to see. Kormani McLean will not be the last late signing flip for Coach Prime at Colorado. We all know that. Yeah, Nessimo says it. They don't have him until he signs. Absolutely. They definitely have the advantage right now, and it's up to them, to continue to recruit their commits. That's a big deal. Mac Mill, he went to Tennessee because Coach Prime didn't show him the mountain in the background of the stadium. Man, and I'm trying to think, it probably wasn't the best weather when they were here either. We've been getting the most rain we've ever had here since like 40 years. So it's great that the sunshine finally came out today. But man, Dion Jr. Bucky had a tweet today. He's like, man, I haven't seen the sun in days. Absolutely. I've been feeling like I've been up in the Pacific Northwest. I moved here for the 300 days of sunshine. Sondley Jacques says, imagine the Broncos and Buffs both won a chip this year. It would be the year in Denver. Absolutely. It's a good time to be a Colorado sports fan. That's for sure. And man, even though I don't really have super high expectations this year for the Broncos, long term, I do think Sean Payton will deliver. Ronnie says, you're right, Dave. Stars don't make dogs. Yeah, at the end of the day, too, like, let's take a look at, our current starting quarterback right now, Shadeur Sanders. I mean, he was a 3-4 star, I guess, depending on what rating system you were looking at. And, I mean, he has developed into a fantastic quarterback. I mean, I always forget his name. But if you're looking at the Tulane quarterback, starting quarterback as a freshman has some really tough years there, those first couple at Tulane, including, 2 years ago going 2-10. But man, takes a big leap into his junior year, and I mean, now they're Rose Bowl champs. And just because you come in as a freshman, not being able to dominate college football at the highest level, that is no knock on these guys. And I think sometimes stars don't, they don't really rate the mental makeup of the player, the resources that they have available to them, the work ethic, the drive. Sometimes unless you're with those kids in the day to day, you don't really know how they're wired. Let's see. Papa says, I heard Jawan came after he committed and felt left out because he didn't get a lot of attention. Interesting. Coaches were focused on one of the players who weren't committed spring game week when everybody was here. Wow, hey, if that's true, I don't blame them. I can be the same way at with my work situations, which is like I want to be somewhere where I feel like I'm given the love, and I feel like just like Coach Prime, it's not always about just the dollars. It's like, hey, I want to feel needed, I want to feel the love, and regardless of whether other coaches or players feel differently about how that weekend went, if he's feeling that way, I don't blame him. He should want to go to where he feels most wanted and needed. Gearhead said, CU will be stocked full of receivers and runners the next 2 seasons, no matter who we sign from here on out. Absolutely. It's so funny because we're going from a program that would come out and say recruiting doesn't matter, and they didn't know how to recruit. And so it was a big deal when we lose guys, or, we wanted to sign certain guys. Let me open up my windows here. And now we're in the place where if we lose out on a guy, that's okay. Like Coach Prime is going to be able to find another guy that has around that same talent level, going to be able to coach him up. Let's see. Big LT says, that's crazy they dropped Carl Lewis's rating. Yeah, is this, just bias? Is this just bias of, hey, when a guy commits to Colorado, we're just going to drop his rating? I don't know. I love the rating system. I think it's so cool and exciting, when we have interest from 5 and 4 stars. Heck, even 3 stars, that's great. But at the end of the day, that does not define where this team is going. There are plenty of schools that have had big time recruiting classes, USC, in the past, and have underperformed. And what really matters is that these guys come in, they got the physical tools, they got the talent, but really they got the mental makeup to be where they should be. And we got the right coaches to coach them up into that next level. And I think what's great is that CU is going to have we got a lot of the right components, and they're targeting the right guys that have that right mental makeup. So, but that doesn't mean we can't have that means we can't have all of them. There are going to be other schools out there competing with us, and I'm just glad it's not another right now conference rival that's getting Boo Carter. All right. Yeah, but y'all let me know, like, what other things on your mind. I thought that this commitment thing was for Boo Carter was probably going to go like a half hour before he did anything. So, I mean, let's get talking. Philip Moore says, yes, he can. Good luck, Buffs. Thank you. Best of luck to Michigan. I always root for Michigan against Ohio State. So, you got a fair weather fan right here with David Talks Buffs. Chattanooga's just an hour and a half to Knoxville. Hats off to Boo. Yeah, that's right in his backyard. Green Creole, good to see you. Always a chance he flips to the portal in a couple of years. And yeah, that's what's so great about college football now is that I think that these freshman classes might be smaller than what we've seen in the past because I think programs like Colorado moving forward or some of these other big time programs, they'll be able to have the first pick of these transfer portal guys. You know what I'm saying? Nick says Coach Prime won't stop until Penn hits paper. Absolutely. We're going to keep the heat on. And if Tennessee's able to keep that commitment, man, hats off to them. But yeah, this is just part of the game, and this is good to know where we stand right now. Always have big time late flips. Yeah, you're right, Philip Moore. So this is just setting the table. It's setting the whole. It's like the prologue, to a story, to a novel, and we're gonna see how all this plays out here in December. Cheryl C says Shadeur's on live with 3 of his receivers. See, we're talking about bonding. We're talking about all that. Like, these guys are going to be on the same page. And thank you so much to all who tuned in for my Bill Carroll live stream the other day. Um, I can't wait to have him on again. And I'm sorry that we didn't get to covering every single player. Originally, we were planning, between like 30 minutes and 45 minutes. And I mean, you know how that goes with me by now. But man, Bill, he's a little bit skeptical about where this team will be in the first year. Which is fine, but it was really great to hear him talk so positively long term about a lot of the guys that Coach Prime is bringing in, and that includes the receivers. I think he thinks that Travis Hunter is going to be playing a lot of receiver. Javon Antonio is somebody that could really surprise. And what was so impressive was that when I was talking with him beforehand, I was like, hey, let's talk about the Buffs roster. Here's like a few different things that I think we'll do. And I mean, I don't really know how much he prepped, but I mean, that's really how he is, where you can just name a player and his memory is just incredible, where he can go on and talk about the strengths and weaknesses, areas of growth for these players. And I mean, it's just amazing that he can do that on he can do it on an NFL level, and then he can do it on a college football level, because all this guy does is watch tape. He's been involved in NFL scouting for a very long time. I mean, it's what he's done for the majority of his career. So it's really cool. Let me see what else y'all got to say. I got trolls. Nick, I'm gonna make you a moderator as well since you're in here all the time. So y'all do your thing. Yeah, nah, man, we're all about good times here. So y'all just block the trolls wherever. Um, let's see. Reggie. 3035 says keep up the tight end search. I think we both agree that we want to see that be the next position. Yeah, I mean, it's like, it's the one thing that it's, I'm just wondering what is going on because if I was a college football tight end and I had Tim Brewster to come to me, I would be like, man, like this guy is awesome. I don't understand, like, what the deal is. Like that sort of position right now has been the hardest thing for me to understand and to figure out because, again, it just got off to such a weird start with the whole Zico stuff. It was just so weird. Yeah. Nicholas Braxton says, I think a lot of people will blossom here, especially on the defensive end. Yeah, I mean, the front seven, there's just a lot of guys that don't, outside of maybe our starting guys, on the edge, there's a lot of question marks, but that doesn't mean that this group is any, they're short of talent. Now is their opportunity to showcase what they have in what they're building here, and I think that yeah, maybe it could take some time to build, a total cohesive defensive unit where there's a lot more just reaction rather than thinking before you do anything. But I mean, these guys got the talent to once they put it all together, to really be something special, and that's going to be really the key to everything is how fast can this team play together. Rodney says, did Kormani make it to Colorado? His mom said he's on the way. Yeah, that's as much as I've seen so far. I haven't seen, I've been working on my car all day today, so I haven't been on Twitter a ton, but I've seen that he's left, but I haven't seen anything of him arriving on campus yet. Is he driving or flying? Hopefully he's flying. I mean, you don't necessarily need a car to live around here. And again, like with being a CU student, they'll give you an RTD pass so you can use that for the buses and the trains and all that. Get to the airport, get to downtown, all that. And then everything on campus is pretty much just right nearby. So, and they got buses there too. So, I mean, I don't know. When I moved from Illinois to Texas to go to college, I drove that and it was miserable. But, I was living out in West Texas. I had to do what I had to do. Stagbag says, hit that like. Yeah, I'd appreciate y'all if you do that. We're still growing something really fun here. And oh man, I just remembered I got a message back, Prime Sports Media. He's probably who I'm going to have on the show next. Nicholas Braxton says, I love Kormani's tape. I see a lot of Nnamdi Asomugha and Richard Sherman. Yeah, he's a big physical corner. He loves to tackle, extremely long and good ball skills. He has to get bigger, but he will be great. I absolutely agree with that. And I love, you can kind of see the guy's mentality or personality with how they put together their huddle tape. And I love that Kormani, even though he makes, big plays, scores touchdowns, wide receiver, cornerback, big time interceptions, all of that. His first couple highlights on that reel from his senior year was him laying guys out. Like he really does have that dog mentality. So I love to see that, and I would expect that he is going to play immediately, and he's going to play a lot. And yeah, he's probably a little bit undersized, at 170 pounds or so, but he's going to put on that weight, and it's going to be hard to stay out of the cafeteria, the athletic cafeteria that they got here at CU, because, I mean, that food looks to be on point, and it's easy to eat when everything you're eating is really good. Green Creole says, everything I've seen so far shows how well these guys are getting along. Just wish they were more vocal when responding to coaches. Yeah. It was interesting. There was a radio show here. I think it was on The Fan, which, or Denver Sports, 104.3. They're kind of the more controversial radio station here. But yeah, it was true. Like a few weeks ago, they were kind of dogging on the team for not being that fired up when hearing from Coach Prime once everybody reported back, and I think that was pretty fair. When you're hearing these big speeches from Coach Prime or whatever, you should get pumped up, and yeah, I wish we saw a little bit more of that. I'm sure that there are moments that that happens where they're not necessarily, um, going viral or anything like that. But yeah, I would like to see a little bit more uh, vocality, if that's even a word, or just expressiveness when responding to these coaches, whether it's they're wanting them to be pumped up, to be proud to be a Colorado Buffalo, or they're receiving feedback. Alpine Garage Sports, good to see you, Chris. Still in your Nuggets jersey, true fan. Yeah, I got three different Jokic jerseys. It's hard for me to get away from the goat. But I think my next one will probably be a Michael Porter or an Aaron Gordon. So we'll see how that goes. I missed the parade. My wife was sick, running a fever, but we watched it all on TV, which was awesome. And yeah, man, I've spent at this point now about $260 on Nuggets championship gear of all sorts. So good day to be a Nuggets fan. Check out my channel, Let's Talk Hoops, if you want to talk hoops. Mac Mill says Coach Brew is the truth. Yeah, like I don't know why you wouldn't want to play for him. So, and again, like my video said yesterday, I said in my video yesterday, it looks like Connor Gilbreth is probably going to go to LSU. It sounds like that's just where the most momentum is. I don't know if he's been crystal balled there, but it just seems to be that there is more momentum coming. And at that point, I mean, Dallin Bentley, the other JUCO offer we had, is also at Utah. So we're kind of at a dead end right now when it comes to the guys that we've offered and them coming here probably. So, I mean, we can't right? Like we can't go into the season with two tight ends. Like we have to be adding somebody else. And I mean, I would love if Sean Lewis, if we're just gonna stick a sixth offensive lineman in there at that tight end spot, if they're gonna be blocking 95% of the time, that is what it is. But I mean, if they're still running tight ends out there in those sets, I mean, one goes down and, whether that's Fourier or Passarella, we're going to have some issues. So y'all let me know what y'all think about what we're doing at tight end. It is so weird. McMill says, I think his mom's bringing him Kormani. That makes sense. Oh, hey, Prime Sports Media. I appreciate you. Thanks for tuning in. I promise you I will message you right after this. I'm sorry, man. It's just been a doozy the last couple of weeks. All right. But I appreciate you tuning in. It's a bummer that we didn't get Boo Carter, but that's all right. We're still building something special. And Prime Sports Media, I just gotta say, like, man, I love your voice. I wish I had your voice. It's so perfect for this sort of medium. You're very easy to listen to. Man, I love it. Everybody's in here. At David, who's that kid they call Unc? He looks 35. Yeah, that's Uncle Jeff Green, man. I love Jeff Green. Sometimes he's got butterfingers, but he's been a vet that I think really helped this team get over the hump. And big props, to them signing Paul Millsap years ago. They overpaid him like a max deal to come here to Denver, and he's somebody who really set the culture in with everybody, and we paid him enough to where it was like, well, you probably won't be on a title team or anything like that here come the end of your career. And but big props to Paul Millsap. He's one of those guys like Gary Harris that does deserve a ring. April Dawn says, I loved your interview with the NFL scout. It was nice to hear his professional take. Yeah, absolutely. I love Bill Carroll, and I've been listening to him for years on the Zenny 62 channel. And yeah, I just thought, you know what? I'll send him a DM and see if he's okay with it. And yeah, he was all for it. And I love Bill. He's great. Once he can get talking, it can be kind of hard to like wrangle him in. I got to improve my interview skills a little bit, but I know there was some criticism about how there were some times where I cut him off, so I need to go back and watch that. But the reason I was so late is starting it like 5-6 minutes late is just because we got carried away talking about other stuff. So yeah, I'll have him on again this summer, and we can get a better look at all the players that we weren't able to talk about. But yeah, like I'm really happy that so many of you got introduced to Bill Carroll because he's a great football mind, and he needs more recognition. That man knows football a well of knowledge. Oh, right. Yeah, Prime Sports Media, he will progress and build up his body. I absolutely agree with that. And he's going to make plays for us. Kormani, that is. I think we're talking about Kormani. Chris says, booze that guy. Yeah, I mean, this guy's a special player. And again, it's not over till you put pen to paper, like many of y'all have said. And it will be interesting to see kind of what other tricks Coach Prime has up his sleeve with some of these guys that I'm sure he wants here. But I mean, now we know where we stand, and that's what's great about these early commitment announcements is that we know where we stand in the pecking order. And I mean, we're 2 or 3, and we got to get up there to number 1. So we'll see how that goes. Oh yeah, thanks. She's doing better today. My wife. Thank you. Still a little sick, but we're getting there. Yeah, yeah. I keep buying all this championship gear. It's been a problem, but thank y'all for YouTube. It's making swiping that card a little bit more manageable and doing all this stuff. And it'll be fun. I'm going to NBA Summer League here in like 2-3 weeks. And so it'll be fun to wear all that championship gear while I'm there. I went in 2019 last time, and it was so much fun. Um, it's really cool because all the players and coaches, they're just where you're at. And, you see them at the casinos or the restaurants, and it's after the games, everybody's just hanging out. So, I'm normally someone to like, even if I spot like a player or coach, like spot Mike D'Antoni, at at the casino that I was staying at the hotel, but I just like chill, or like some of the players out later. I'm not ever one to go talk to them, but it's kind of cool, like seeing them around, having a good time. I just want them to feel normal. According to Adam Munstertiger, this is what Nicholas is saying. Shadeur is more ahead of anybody in the offense learning the playbook. No surprise. And that's what I'm hoping for, and that's what I would expect out of him, being the true leader of this team. You need your quarterback holding everybody accountable, everybody on the team. And, in order to do that, part of that is knowing the playbook. Just like Manning and Brady and all these other greats would set these guys straight, their teammates straight, almost like a coach. That's what I'm hoping for and expecting from Shadeur moving forward, that he's going to really keep these guys accountable. Oh yeah, let's talk about Javon Antonio. Man, I know that this has kind of been a debate I've seen on other channels on if he will play tight end. I don't think he will. I think maybe it was you, Nicholas, that brought this up, that he maybe the reason that he was like rated so lowly coming in out of high school was because he was at the wrong position, which was tight end. And we've seen, at that FCS level, since he's taken over at that wide receiver position, he's been able to really excel. And I mean, as much as I was excited about Zico coming out here being a different kind of tight end than what Sean Lewis has used, my first thought was like, man, I'm really excited to see how Sean Lewis evolves his offense. But it seems like to me, it's not going to evolve in that way. It's probably going to evolve more of, Shadeur doing less designed runs, in some regard. But it's not going to mean that he's using the tight ends much differently. So keep Javon Antonio there at wide receiver. And, we're going to have injuries at wide receiver. That just comes with it, with how often we're throwing and how many are on the field. We're going to need him there at wide out. Let's see what else. I'm a little behind here. Mac Mill says, David, do you think Shiloh could play another position since he's getting back in shape and healthy? Man, that's interesting. I would hope that he just plays safety. I think he's going to be a starting safety for us. I think he's got good coverage skills, and what I really love about him is that he can really be like a stout run defender. He's somebody that can blitz, someone that we could put in the box if we need to. And I mean, he's an SEC talent, right? I'm not a football a scout or anything like Bill Carroll is, but I would expect him to be one of our top two safeties. And that was kind of cool to hear that he's high on Trevor Woods as well. And I think he thinks that Trevor Woods might get some more time than maybe Miles Slusher does. Yeah, let me give a few more shout outs to everybody that's in here. To Absolute True TV, it's in here. Al Love, good to see you. Again, Prime Sports Media, Andre Bradford, April Dawn, so many people. Mac Mill, Chris, Reggie, like, man, there's so many that I recognize, and it's good to see all y'all in here. Um, my friend I am Alex is here. If I'm Alex is saying anything dumb, just know that he's my best friend. So you don't have to block him. Um, he's a Ravens fan, and then he always says misinformation about Joe Flacco. It's okay. Zion, good to see you. Sucks we didn't get Boo Carter, but Tennessee is not winning anything. Man, I don't know about that. I've loved seeing this Tennessee come up. Seeing their victory over Alabama was so fun, and I'm not really sure how the SEC scheduling is this next year or moving forward. It's kind of dumb with these mega conferences and the fact that the SEC is still only going to play 8 conference games. That is what it is. I think it's a weak move. But if Tennessee plays Georgia this year, man, I think they're going to give them a run for their money. That's for sure. Andre Bradford says Boo just wanted to be close to home, and the bag was nice. But he's a great kid, and don't be surprised if he flips in December. Absolutely, and yeah, if they were able to offer more money from an NIL perspective, like, go out and get that, man. If it's close, between feeling comfortable at Tennessee and Colorado, that's what I would do as well. I would be taking that NIL money. So hats off to him. I wouldn't be doing anything differently. Oh man, if Alex is saying something bad about Coach Prime, that's not good with his leg. Yeah, man. Yeah, prayers up for him because, man, life ain't fair, man. That's all I gotta say. Life ain't fair, but man, I'm hoping that they can save his leg, his foot. That that ain't right. Does anyone think the high altitude of Boulder is having an effect on Prime's blood circulation? Holy moly, man. Yeah, I haven't really thought about that, but I mean, yeah, that would be a thing. And I'm sure he's got, all the circulation sleeves and everything on that. I do have a friend here that had foot surgery as a kid that has lived out here for like over 10 years now. And it was a circulation issue as well. And he seems to be fine out here, but he might have had to have a second surgery after living here a few years, if my mind is correct. So that wouldn't shock me if the altitude has something to do with it. Yeah. Mac Mill says, I love this bus community. I look forward every day to checking out all the channels. Yes, man, I have so much fun doing this. And yeah, man, it's been cool because, this community that we're building, man, it's just all good vibes, man. And I think, there's going to be things this season that don't go wrong or that don't go right. They go wrong. And, we're going to be able to pick each other up and, enjoy this journey. And that's what I love about it. And what I think is cool that we're developing on this channel as well as kind of the other channels that are very closely associated with mine is that everybody's got the right perspective. None of us are like, shitting on these kids for, deciding to go elsewhere or, like those Nebraska fans already making, terrible jokes about Coach Prime probably losing his foot. We're just not like that. And we got that right perspective. So that's what I really appreciate about this place. It's not going to be toxic. Alpine Garage Sport says decommits are prevalent in today's game. Boo still in play. Absolutely, you got the right perspective. Body Bagum says Boo chose money over coaching. Ooh, that's a bold take. I mean, I would say that Tennessee has some very solid coaching as well. Um, but hey, again, man, I'm never gonna get mad at somebody for taking money. I know Coach Prime probably disagrees, but um, that it's about the NFL, not NIL. But that's easy for us to say when that money isn't put in front of us. Mac Mill album, I've been twerking and I love it. Andre Bradford says, "Facts, Zion, but them kids still going to be in his ear. We'll know more in November. Absolutely. We just know where we stand now." Body Bagum says he's not flipping. Bro, gotta buy mom a house. See, I mean, you can't if that is the truth, you can't blame anybody. You can't blame anybody. Tennessee's still, um, they're an extremely solid program, man, and I'm a um, I'm a big fan of what Coach Heupel's doing. I mean, their brand of football last year was so exciting. Jimmy says, "I'm late. Did he commit anywhere yet?" Yes, he's going to Tennessee. All right. Al Love says Andre Bradford. When he sees Kormani and Travis becoming household names and his boys are talking about them, he will flip. Man, that's a great point, Al Love, because there has been. I'm trying to remember who was saying this. It might have been RK on DNVR Buffs. He was saying how a lot of what we'll see is that we'll see that Coach Prime's in the running for a lot of these players, but some of them might want to get their spot elsewhere first and then kind of wait and see what happens with the Buffs this year. Um, and that's going to lay the ground for some really cool flips, to happen. But yeah, I mean, it makes sense from a logical perspective. Get that spot at Georgia, get that spot at Tennessee. If you can snag it, or LSU. And man, if the Buffs are really up to expectation, if the Buffs are killing it, if they're the number one team watch this year, there's going to be a spot, hopefully, for you to flip back if you want. But again, man, Coach Prime, he's not going to quit. This staff is not going to quit. Charles Kelly, all of them. I mean, they're going to still be going out getting dogs, and we'll see what happens from here. But man, like an awesome start to the class so far with Aaron Butler. Um, you know, who else, man? Danny O'Neal, it's looking like he's having a good performance right now at the Elite 11. And this means that he could work his way up to, being a 4 star, maybe. Not that stars, again, are everything, but again, it shows that, we're really building something here. And I would love it. Again, some people say that, Danny would already be that 4 star quarterback if he was just a few inches taller. And he could definitely. I mean, if Dennis Robbins having a 9 inch, 12-inch growth spurt at like 21 years old, Danny O'Neal can still grow a few more inches at least in high school. Am I right? Back to Javon Antonio. Chris says, I can only see Javon Antonio chip blocking. That's it. He can block DBs, but not any defensive line. Yeah, and I would want him out there taking care of those DBs and letting the guys who are lining up at tight end, that are either tight end or offensive linemen, taking care of those defensive lines. Nicholas Braxton, he's a true X. Think Alshon Jeffrey. Yeah, I love that comp, and I think if Bill Carroll is here too, he would agree with you on that. Seize the day. What's going on? Thanks for tuning in. Andre Bradford says, facts, Al. Watch what happens when we start winning. Now the flip starts. So don't worry, people. Absolutely. That's why it's still a great day to be a Buff, man. Like, uh, you know, 3 years ago, would I have imagined that I'd even be paying attention to a big time recruit in their announcement? No, I mean, and now we get to live this all the time, and some of them we hit, and some of them we don't get right away, and then some of them we lose, and that's all right. There's plenty of players to go around for a lot of these teams to be successful and to be right there, and CU is going to be one of them. Prime Sports Media, it's all about depth. Yeah, man, we're good at every position, I feel, except tight end. I really want to know what's going on there. I wish that I was like an insider and I can know like what exactly is the plan, but I'm not. I'm just a guy here that makes YouTube videos in his bedroom. Zion says, "Please, Buff Nation, don't bash the kid for making the best decision for him and his family." Yeah, man. It's all perspective. All right, I'm gonna fast forward up here. Maybe I can get a little bit closer to some of the comments um, here. See what we got going on. Chris says, CU should have a couple players joining the USFL and XFL. Great opportunities. And then Mark Twain says, yeah, the XFL and USFL is good for the sport. They give these guys a chance to continue playing ball. Absolutely. Um, I think like because I'm just so into college football and the NFL, it's like I can be burnt out from football and kind of need a break afterwards. But I haven't watched much spring football, but I think it's a great thing that I think we need. Just like we had like NFL Europe going on, like when I was a kid, I always thought that was pretty cool. And yeah, it's great to see some of the guys from CU getting opportunities to play there. Um, what I really miss is that, I mean, we haven't had a draft pick. Man, y'all all-time CU people, correct me if I'm wrong, but a notable draft pick since Laviska Chenault like 3-4 years ago. And, maybe we had, man, who was that one guy? Jawan Winfrey that was drafted in like the 7th round by the Broncos, I think. But, I'm ready to start seeing Buffs show up, in the first 2 days of the NFL draft. Like, that's what we need. Reggie says the hype machine is at about a 5 on the scale of 1 to 10. I would agree with that. Let's see you start the season 3-0, and it will be at 8. Beat USC, and it hits 10. Yeah, absolutely. When I was after I ended my live stream interview with Bill Carroll, we were talking for a little bit afterwards, of course, and we kind of went through the schedule a little bit, and he doesn't expect the Buffs to win week 1 against TCU, but he does think that they will handle Nebraska and Colorado State, and he does think that they will get above that 3.5 win line as well. So yeah, like I think that, and I would think that we have a chance to upset TCU for real, just because of the guys that they've lost. Um, so yeah, I mean, if we start out 3-0, man, we're going to be ranked, and then it's just uphill from there. But yeah, I'm like, man, if we could beat USC, Oregon's going to be, I think, our toughest opponent, because we are playing at Oregon, and at least USC, we're going to have the home crowd here. Mac Mill says, David, I hope you can get an interview with Uncle Neely soon. All you have to do is ask. Man, that's great. Yeah, I did. So with my current work, even though I don't really enjoy the company I'm at, we do have a box at Ball Arena here, and I did reach out to him, seeing if he wanted to go to one of the major league or the indoor lacrosse league finals, because the Colorado Mammoth played it here, and but I never heard back from him. So I'm just gonna have to try it again, or maybe I go instead of like a private message, I just do like a public tweet like this next time, maybe where I invite him on the show. Maybe that's because I'm sure he gets messages all the time, and maybe it just got lost in the shuffle. But he mentioned on the DNVR show that he saw his first women's lacrosse game. So I was like, dude, like, come to the box with me. You can enjoy this championship indoor lacrosse with me, and we can talk a little bit about YouTube as well. So maybe next time. Prime Sports Media says, I'm most concerned about the defensive offensive line. That's where the game's won. Yeah, absolutely. And we got the most question marks right now inside, both at offensive line and on the defensive line. And I think if there's a conference to be in where there are question marks at, it's definitely not the SEC, Big Ten, or Big 12. I do think if there is a conference to be in with those question marks where there might need to be some development, the Pac-12 is the conference to be in for that, in my opinion. So they could do better, man, than people expect. I think an average offensive line would, would be more than serviceable to get through and be competitive in the Pac-12. Yeah, Anthony Steele just, he was saying, yeah, but if the CU Buffs start winning, there might not be a spot for them later on, and that that's the risk, that's the game, that's the fun, that's the fun in all this. April Dawn says this thing about God: we don't always get what we want, but we get what we need. Yeah, absolutely, and it's going to be fun to see kind of how this whole thing comes together and the surprises that come about. Andre Bradford says, well, I've just dropped a new video. I'm going to have to check that out. Um, let's see. Patricia says Shiloh's going to the NFL. Mark Twain says, I don't see it. He's not NFL quality. We're just going to have to see on that. I think that this is a really big year for Shiloh. Bill Carroll does think that he's an NFL talent, and he actually thinks that he won't use both years of eligibility here. Um, which I thought was very interesting. I haven't heard that perspective about Shiloh before, so we're just gonna have to see. What's great is that now he's removed enough from that ACL injury and playing back up at the Power Five level that he's going to be able to put a lot of people on notice. So that's going to be exciting, man, to see kind of um, where he ends up. But yeah, it seems like he's kind of more of a day three guy right now, and yeah, you could see him as a that leaves room to be a higher draft pick, or as well as being an undrafted guy that signed somewhere and is on the practice squad. I think depending on where Shiloh is getting his information from on where he can be expected to be drafted, I think he'll be back for his second year. All right, I'm gonna go till I hit 60 minutes. Let's see. Reggie was asking, can I pull up the well video or the well off video here? I can't. I scheduled this live stream on my phone, which then it wouldn't let me launch it on my laptop. So I just need to know that I need to schedule these on my laptop, like moving forward. So I'm sorry about that. Seize the Day says, I'm very much a Shiloh fan. I think he will exceed expectations. And yeah, I mean, he plays with a big fire. He's going to be a leader on that defense and a tone setter. Nicholas Braxton says, CU has some pass rushers people just don't know about yet. Absolutely. Coach Sal will push those guys to be their absolute best. I got hope for Savell Smalls, D-Mac, Dominic, McCoy, Cokes, Payne, and Wallace. Yeah, and then there are some guys like DV Harris and um, Kyrie Mans. A lot of these guys, man, just the level of athlete that CU has now is just so much better than what they've had in the past, and it's going to be open competition. Who can kind of put it all together the quickest? They're going to be earning that playing time, and yeah, I'm not counting any of these guys out right now. It's going to be exciting to see kind of where the rotation shakes out. Dude, by the way, Nicholas, you can answer this later, but based off of like my interview with Bill Carroll, man, it seems like you could have like a future in scouting. So, um, is that something that you're into? And if it is, man, happy to make an introduction to Bill Carroll, or if you hit him up on Twitter, I'm sure he would love it. But um, yeah, I see on Twitter that there are all the times whether it's scouting related or like fantasy scouting related, which is a little bit different. Um, but it that was really cool to see him really be impressed with your commentary and insight and um, your detail on those things. And don't uh, don't cut yourself short with that. That was a pretty big deal, and that was really cool to see. All right, let's see what else has got people got to say. Um, Mark Twain says Shadeur is NFL talent, no NFL hate on Sanders. Yeah, and I do think Shadeur is a first round talent. It was great to hear Bill Carroll talk about Shadeur as kind of a Teddy Bridgewater comp right now, And I mean, Teddy Bridgewater, first round quarterback, end of the first round, but first round quarterback nonetheless. And if he's able to come out here and set school records, I mean, his draft stock's only going to go up. And I do agree with him that I don't think he is 6'2". I don't think he is. Um, he's probably shorter than that. And it was kind of validating to hear. He's like, really, the only reason that these guys from the FCS like Carson Wentz, Trey Lance, and Joe Flacco were drafted so high was because they're like 6'4" and above. And I think as we're seeing now with, I mean, what? Mahomes isn't 6'4". What is he, like 6'2", 6'3"? I mean, height isn't everything at the quarterback position. It does make things easier, though. That's for sure. Man, let's see what else. Chris says, I want to see how Travis J is after he's 100%. Yeah, man, like he's a big wild card because I could see him getting a lot of time on this defense. And I'm really wondering, like, people probably won't want to hear this, but, depending on the looks that they're getting from the offense or whatever, I really don't know how much inside linebackers we'll have on the field. And I kind of wonder if we'll have, 3, 4 safeties on the field, sometimes, some guys kind of playing more of that linebacker role, or they can, play nickel or slot. With a lot of those guys on the field, you could run some really interesting looks. Andre Bradford says Woods is not on the same level as Shiloh right now. Yeah, we're gonna have to see how it all kind of shakes out, because Trevor Woods, I mean, he had a lot of tackles because this defense was absolutely embarrassing the last couple years. And I do think now that they'll probably be our two starting safeties, and it'll be great to see kind of who kind of shakes out. But I would say from a physical standpoint, I think Shiloh definitely has a leg up. Nicholas says Shadeur's the truth. He might not wow you like Caleb Williams, but he is also so smart and accurate, and that's what's so underrated about the quarterback position. We forget about that at the college level. Shadeur meticulously works his way down the field, great ball placement. He is so good from the neck up. Yeah, and we just need him to be patient and just finding the easy passes. Like, again, I know football and basketball are just they're very different, but at the same time, these are both games that are centered around just finding the easiest look and going to it. Like, that's what it's all about. We can't get caught up in the trash talk or embarrassing this player or, chasing stats and awards. Like, if you just go after and make the right read and make the easiest play every time, that's going to lead to winning football. It's going to lead to recognition and awards and being drafted and championships. Reggie says, I think Woods is better in the run game. I would agree with you on that. Yeah, Mark Twain says the Shadeur pass completion percentage speaks for itself. Yeah, 70%. I mean, Joe Flacco was drafted out of Delaware, completing like 55% of his passes. Let's see. Reggie says, I think Woods is quiet and has to get better at communicating on the field. That's a really interesting insight. He mentioned he loved playing with Cam because Cam does all the talking and organizing. Oh, man, and Cameron Silman Craig. I mean, those guys, there's just a lot of talent in this secondary. Whoops. There's just a lot of talent in the secondary, man. It's going to be hard to predict how it all shakes out, because he's another guy, man, that should be on the field a lot. Prime Sports Media says, what about Nate Robinson's son? Yeah, remind me of his name again. Namir Robinson. Yeah, man, like he's another guy that can really come in here and make plays. I don't think we'll see him this year. Do you have to redshirt preferred walk-ons? Is that a thing? Yeah, I'd assume it would. I think that he'll redshirt along with Caleb Mathis. I think Caleb will redshirt. People might disagree with me because he earned his number and all that, but I think both of those guys will redshirt. Oh man, it looks like Coach G Graham is in the house. Man, I might have missed a super chat or super sticker you gave me like a week or two ago. I apologize if I never thanked you for that. Thank you for your generosity, and it really means a lot to me, Coach G Graham. And it's great to see you supporting everybody on on all the YouTube channels. So thank you for that. And it still blows my mind, that we're all doing this together, man. It's a lot of fun. Namir's depth, I don't think he'll grow past 5'10". Yeah, we'll have to see. The odds are not in favor of him. Um, but yeah, if he's, let's see, play, man, I'm trying to remember the tape because I think he plays like defensive back as well as some running back, and you don't need to be 5'10" to be running back. Yeah, they should redshirt him. Let's see. Caleb will give the DBs hell every week, making them better after covering shifty at covering shifty wide receivers. Absolutely. I would just love to. I would just love to see him put on a little bit more size because I mean I kind of want to redshirt him right now just out of protection for himself, being like a 5'7" guy, like 160 pounds. Maybe even less than that. Appreciate you, Coach G. Graham. Let's see. You can tell Caleb is a coach's son. He works his tail off. Absolutely. And yeah, I would love to see a world in which some of these preferred walk-ons that come in here a little bit undersized are able to get some time eventually. I just, it would, uh, it wouldn't be right to put those guys out there right now against the type of grown men they're going to be facing. So, anyways, guys, I really appreciate your time on this. Man, even though Boo Carter didn't commit, like, this is still a step in the good direction that we're in the top three for him. And, we're going to see, are we going to put, the press on Tennessee, the pressure's on them to hold this commitment. So we'll see how that goes. Shout out to all the Michigan fans that were tuning in at the beginning. Really appreciate y'all tuning into my channel. And again, really love Michigan. I always root for them over Ohio State. So allegiance and alliance there. We got a few more people in here saying Vibe Season Sports says I'm surprised. And y'all go subscribe to him and Prime Sports Media if you haven't. I'm surprised nobody has made the comparison between Malik Willis and Shadeur Sanders. That's definitely my player comp. Yeah, that's pretty interesting. Like from a physical standpoint, I would say like like you're right on. Maybe Malik's a little bit thicker, but again, like, he's a little bit older than Shadeur. And it's going to be interesting to see, like, how much size Shadeur, really has put on. And, but I would say that, I don't know, the biggest thing coming out of, or piece of criticism, rather, with Malik Willis is just his inability to, um, run plays with complex reads and kind of all that. I don't think we'll have to worry about that with Shadeur, but I know you know that. But yeah, physically, Malik Willis, yeah, I could see that. They don't want to redshirt Dylan too. No way, rotate him and use him at other positions. Yeah, I don't see Dylan Edwards being redshirted. He's too valuable. He's too ready. Stoutmeyer thinks he's going to get it together. I think Stoutmeyer could play this year. Lawrence Collins says only similarity is that they're both black. Yeah, I would say more like maybe the physical build, but yeah, I think Shadeur's a lot better of a quarterback. Man, y'all are freaking hilarious. Um, oh man, yeah. Reggie says Willis hasn't looked good in the NFL. We don't want to do that to number two. No, hell no, hell no. But on a side note, man, I know that he's a controversial pick, but man, I freaking love Will Levis, man. They can just kind of coach those boneheaded plays out of his game. Um, Josh Allen wasn't as bad as him his senior year, but sometimes like you just can't ignore that arm talent. And who cares if he puts mayonnaise in his coffee? I mean, it's hard to ignore that size and that arm. And really, I guess the big question mark is, is he going to be, you know, um, where he needs to be mentally to be successful? It sounds like, Malik is, his time in the NFL is Yeah, there's vibes in yeah, size and weight. Malik lower body is crazy. Yeah, man. I'd agree with you on that. We just need to keep moving forward with Bukard. He needs to do his best for him. Absolutely. Shador wants to beat you in the pocket. Willis wants to use athleticism. Yeah. And man, but I'm hoping that one of the things I first remember was when Coach Prime and Shador came out here in November, and they were seeing all the pools and stuff like that, and they were saying Shador, like, you can get faster, um, and I hope to see like an increased speed from what we saw at Jackson State, because of that. Lawrence Collins says just stating facts, absolutely, which is, I mean, this is why I love this channel, man. We just give the honest truth, man, and man, I love it. I freaking love it. And Reggie, yeah, he puts mayonnaise in his coffee. I've never heard of that. It's weird as hell. And on it, like, I know that this is probably overblown, but when NFL GMs are looking at everything, they're criticizing everything about you before they decide if they're going to spend a top pick on you. I guarantee you that's like something that tanked his draft stock, because that's just weird. And then you begin to wonder, like, can this guy relate to the other guys? That is very weird. It's very weird. And hey, I might be in the wrong for, like, overblowing that, but you cannot let that get out in the draft process. You can't, even if that's something that you do, because it's just going to put people on edge. No, can't condone putting mayonnaise in coffee. Absolutely. Absolutely. It's weird. And I'm all for, doing what you want to do, eat what you want to eat, but you got to know that there's just some things that can't make it out. So whether it was him or somebody in his camp that disclosed that to the media, they might have cost Will Levis millions of dollars. Yeah, Will Levis is a tale of 2 years. Absolutely. Kind of like Josh Allen, except he didn't put mayonnaise in his coffee. Nicholas says, "Oh, let's see what Cheryl C says. Does anyone ever look at the old clips from the Reality Family playbook? Yes, I do, and that's why I'm not worried about all the attention. I mean, these kids have had TVs or cameras in front of them. They've been on TV their whole life. I ain't freaking worried. But yeah, that show is hilarious. Like seeing all little Shiloh and Shadeur cry and whatnot. It's cute." See what else y'all saying. Um, Coach G Graham says only dogs for those buffs. Mayonnaise and coffee is weird. Oh my god, yeah, absolutely. Putting mayonnaise in coffee is nuts. You're supposed to put ketchup and mustard in it. Yeah. Yeah, man. It's just weird. I just drink my coffee black for the most part, and yeah, it's just you wonder. Can you relate? Kind of. You know, I'm going to be a Russell Wilson fan, but I think, it was clear that with the coaches, not to kind of, when the coach is an oddball, like Hackett, when you have another kind of guy who's a little bit weird at quarterback, that's, that can cause division in the locker room. And I mean, you saw players, chew him out on whatever on the field. And like Dalton Reisner, dude, that man still hasn't signed with an NFL team after, being caught shoving a quarterback on the sideline. Wait, April Dawn says it was a joke? What? Man, am I spreading fake news out here? I apologize if I was doing that. I thought that was real. I thought that was real. Um, I thought that was real for the last like 3-4 months. Man, joke's on me, I guess. Maybe it was like Ballsack Sports that reported that on Twitter and I just didn't realize it. You got to tell me where you found out that it was fake. I got to know before I sign off here. um, Tip Jackson says you can't come into Chattanooga anymore and take our athletes. Oh man, well it's gonna be it's gonna be hard to get any of those Tennessee guys out here, but I think our team is better off if we're able to grab a couple. So, we're just gonna have to see. I mean, y'all got one of our big dogs right now out of Colorado, offensive lineman, tackle Gage Ginther, man. Like he is, man, he's a dog, man. So it's only right, if Tennessee's getting one of ours, at some point we got to snag one of yours as well. We'll see how that goes. April Dawn says it may have been PR control. That's a good point. All right, go on the Oprah Winfrey Network YouTube channel. You will smile and laugh. It's a great show. Yeah. David, I watched The Rise. Oh, you watched The Rise? That's awesome. Interested in comparisons with the current videos, especially once I heard about the uncompromising man. Yeah, like that team is pretty interesting. It's great that you bring that up. Yeah, that's when we won the Pac-12 South, I want to say, in like 2016. And that was a really special year because that was McIntyre's most successful year as a head coach. And really, man, what made that so successful is that they had a bunch of grown ass men on that team. Like they were a bunch of like fourth, fifth year seniors for the most part, and they were all able to put it together. They were all, I think, motivated by being kind of the last, um, kind of their last year all together, and you know, you had a lot of leaders in that locker room too that did not allow for any compromising, which is something that we've missed here the last few years. Because again, any of our talented, super talented players that could probably lead from that kind of standpoint over the last few years, most of them have left in the transfer portal. So what's great with this team is that we have a bunch of grown ass men coming in here. We got a bunch of high character guys that are going to be examples of leadership moving forward. And it's not a young team. This is a team with college football experience, as opposed to most rebuilds that have a lot of young players playing and having to kind of be rushed into those leadership spots immediately. But yeah, like it helped that Cepho, I think that was his last year, and you just had leadership on the offensive line at quarterback, at really all the positions on the defense, and they were all able to buy in and accomplish something together. So yeah, like y'all go check out The Rise. It's on the CU football YouTube channel. It's like a documentary on their season of, you know, just really kicking ass. And yeah, so we'll have to see how it goes this year. I'm hoping that we can do even bigger and better things than what we accomplished in The Rise. Um, all right, y'all. I'm gonna go get some dinner, but y'all are freaking fantastic. Um, I love hanging out with y'all. Oh, but before I go again, I'll answer McNeil's question. Did you see the documentary of Jackson State and Snoop Dogg's commentary? It's really good. No, I haven't, so I'll need to check that out. Um, I've just watched the Amazon series from last season, so I'll need to go search for that and check that out. I gotta finish Jury Duty too. That is a hilarious show on Amazon Prime. That's pretty interesting. So, yeah, y'all check that out if you're a TV show fan. But man, I appreciate every single one of you. And I mean, we're just building something special here. Boo Carter, best of luck right now with your commitment to Tennessee. We'll see if we can make it. We can make it a tougher decision come December. But I appreciate all of you guys. Thank you for checking out the channel. Please make sure you like this before I head out, and share this with other fans that haven't heard of my channel. So I mean, man, this community just makes it so easy to get on here and talk, and it really is one of my favorite things that I do every week. So y'all are phenomenal people. We're making Buffs Nation like a really important and a really unique culture, and we're the best fan base in the world, man. That's really what it's all about. So peace to all of you guys, and as always, Sko Buffs.